Welcome to another deep dive, everyone. And today we're going to change the way you think about kayaking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to dive deep into the mind of Imre Kemecsey.
Oh, awesome.
He's a coach who has been shaking things up in the world of elite kayaking for decades now.
Yeah, you know what's fascinating about Kemecsey
Yeah.
is that he's not just focused on the outward appearance of a good kayaking technique.
Right.
He's obsessed with the inner structure.
Oh, wow.
Like how everything works together beneath the surface.
So it's not just about mimicking the movements.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding why they're doing them.
Exactly.
The deeper mechanics at play.
Yeah, Kemecsey really believes that the kayak itself
Oh, interesting.
is a crucial part of the equation, constantly reacting to the athlete's every move.
So it's like a dance between the paddler and the boat.
Yeah, it's almost like a dance or like a conversation
I like that.
between the two.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I'm already intrigued, but I got to ask,
Yeah.
why does Kemecsey think that traditional coaching methods are missing the mark?
Well, traditionally, the focus has been on isolated movements, like getting the perfect blade angle or maintaining a certain stroke rate.
Mm-hmm.
But Kemecsey argues that this approach kind of misses the forest for the trees.
Okay.
He believes that true power and efficiency come from understanding how the entire body works together as a system.
Got it. So like a holistic view.
Yeah.
How does he actually teach this approach?
That's where his concept of power circles comes in.
Okay.
Think of them as a framework for understanding the interconnectedness of different body parts during the kayaking stroke.
So how did he even come up with this idea?
Well, he was inspired by this architectural term, tensigrity.
Tensigrity.
Yeah, it refers to structures that achieve stability through a balance of tension and compression.
Huh.
And he believes that the kayaker's body functions in a similar way.
Okay, so you're telling me
Mm-hmm.
that my body, while kayaking,
Yeah.
should be like a perfectly engineered building?
It's kind of a cool way to think about it, right?
That's an interesting way to think about it. I never thought about it that way.
It's all about, finding that balance between strength and flexibility.
How many of these power circles are there?
There are 5 power circles, each with its own specific role.
5.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm ready to break them down,
All right,
one by one.
let's do it.
What's power circle number 1?
Power circle number 1 is all about establishing a strong and efficient catch.
Okay.
You know that crucial moment when your blade enters the water?
Yeah.
And it involves a coordinated effort between your legs, hips, and pulling arm
Okay.
to create a solid connection with the water.
So it's not just about planting the blade.
Right.
It's about feeling that grip, right?
Precisely. Yeah, one of Kemecsey's athletes described it as really getting my full glide.
Really getting my full glide.
Yeah, that feeling of having the blade firmly locked in the water.
I like that.
And that's what allows you to harness the power of the other power circles.
So a strong foundation is key.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to power circle number 2.
Okay, so power circle number 2 focuses on the interplay
Yeah.
between your pulling and supporting arms
Yeah.
and how they work together to transfer power through the paddle shaft.
So it's not just about pulling with one arm.
No, it's both arms are actively involved.
Okay, interesting.
It's a real team effort.
So both arms working in tandem
Yeah.
to create this powerful lever system.
Yeah, it's like this beautiful connection between both sides of your body.
I'm starting to see how these power circles are building on each other.
Yeah.
What about power circle number 3?
All right, power circle number 3 might be the most important of them all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is where you tap into the power of your legs and hips.
The legs, okay.
Yeah. Kemecsey is a firm believer that the legs are the engine of the kayaking stroke.
Interesting.
And he emphasizes this dynamic movement he calls the hip flick.
The hip flick, I love it.
Yeah, it helps transfer power from the legs through the hips and into the paddle.
I'm trying to imagine how that feels.
Yeah, one of his athletes even described it feeling like a metal pole was running through their body.
Right.
They said, when I did this on the water, I would plant the blade, then move my body to the paddle, keeping a solid form rather than bending my pulling arm.
So using the whole body, not just the arms.
Exactly.
The hip flick is connecting the power of the lower body
Mm-hmm.
to the rest of the stroke.
It's all connected.
Okay, power circle number 4.
Power circle number 4 focuses on maintaining proper posture
Okay.
and a strong connection between your blade and the water on the opposite side of the boat.
Opposite sides of it, okay.
Yeah, so it's about creating this stable framework
Yeah,
that links the blade to the water on the other side.
I'm trying to picture this. Go ahead.
So Kemecsey emphasizes the importance of feeling a line of force
Yeah.
running from the blade up to the pulling shoulder,
Okay.
across the body to the support side hip, and back down to the blade. So it's like creating this solid line of tension that helps transfer power efficiently.
I see.
Yeah, you're leveraging the water on the opposite side of the boat for support.
Okay. Last but not least, power circle number 5.
Okay, power circle number 5 links your arms and legs together,
Okay.
ensuring that your whole body is working as a unified system.
So this is where it all comes together.
Yeah, this is where everything clicks.
Okay.
And PC5 creates what Kemecsey calls the super frame.
The super frame.
Yeah, allowing you to move with incredible power and efficiency.
Amazing.
He had one athlete reflect on PC5, and they said, it is as if the power circles are a frame that fills a sphere, just like that frame held together with elastic.
Wow.
So you can see how interconnected each of these power circles are.
Kind of rethinking my whole approach to kayaking right now.
No, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Like, Kemecsey's approach is so refreshing because it's not about brute force.
Right.
It's about understanding these subtle connections and how they create a truly elegant and powerful stroke.
I can't wait to learn more. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already.
I know, right?
But I feel like we're just scratching the surface
We are just getting started.
of Kemecsey's ideas.
Yeah, in the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore those fascinating analogies that Kemecsey uses to bring these power circles to life.
Okay.
He draws inspiration from everything,
Now,
from architecture to nature.
this is one deep dive I'm not going to forget anytime soon.
Me neither.
Stay tuned, everyone, because things are about to get really interesting.
Yeah, buckle up.
All right, see you in the next part.
So, Kemecsey doesn't just want you to, intellectually understand these power circles.
Yeah.
He wants you to really feel them in your body.
Experience it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Not just think about it.
That's where these analogies come in.
Right.
They're not just clever metaphors,
Yeah.
They're tools to help you develop that deep, intuitive understanding of how your body interacts with the kayak and the water.
I like that. All right, let's dive into some of those analogies.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's start with that one you mentioned earlier, water skiing.
Yeah.
How does that relate to kayaking?
So in both water skiing and kayaking, you're using a fixed point to leverage the power of the water.
Okay.
The water skier leans against the boat,
Right.
using the rope as their fixed point,
Mm-hmm.
while the kayaker leans against the paddle, using the blade as theirs.
Okay, so the feeling of leaning into that pole, of using the water as support,
Yeah,
that's something that translates to kayaking.
exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
One of Kemecsey's students even said, when I did this on the water, I would plant the blade, then move my body to the paddle, keeping a solid form rather than bending my pulling arm.
It's like the kayak becomes an extension of your body, like a giant water ski.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Kemecsey's helping us see that the kayak isn't just, this passive vehicle.
Okay.
It's a dynamic part of the technique itself.
That's a great way to think about it. All right, so we've got water skiing. What about pole vaulting?
Okay, pole vaulting.
I'm curious how that fits in.
So think about how a pole vaulter plants the pole
Mm-hmm.
and then uses its flexibility to propel themselves upward.
Right.
Kemecsey says you can use the slight bend in your paddle shaft to enhance the power of your stroke.
So it's not just about, muscling the paddle through the water.
Okay.
It's about using your whole body and the flex of the paddle as well.
Exactly. Kemecsey calls this the bent shaft feeling.
Okay.
And he really emphasizes that, it's key to engaging those power circles
Right.
and creating a smooth, dynamic stroke.
I'm really starting to see how these analogies are all connecting.
Yeah.
Are there any others?
Oh, there are a few more.
Okay.
So Kemecsey also uses the Eiffel Tower
Eiffel Tower. Interesting.
to illustrate, the strong interconnected structure
Okay.
of efficient kayaking technique.
Okay.
He tells his students, if the Eiffel Tower was made up on top of quicksand, it would fall apart.
Okay, so my body should be as strong and stable as the Eiffel Tower while I'm kayaking.
Well, maybe not that strong.
Okay.
But the idea is that your body needs that same,
Right.
kind of structural integrity
Right.
to efficiently transfer force and maintain balance.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Eiffel Tower has this complex system of supports and beams,
Uh-huh.
your body relies on those 5 power circles.
To create a strong and efficient framework.
Exactly.
I see. All right. Are there any other images or analogies Kemecsey uses?
Yeah, he also talks about an eggshell.
An eggshell.
Yeah, an eggshell.
Okay.
It's incredibly strong for its weight,
Right.
but it can easily crack if pressure is applied in the wrong way.
Right.
So this analogy really highlights the need for,
A strong yet flexible framework.
exactly.
Yeah.
And one of his athletes said that it is as if the power circles are a frame that fills a sphere, just like that frame held together with elastic.
So it's not just strength, it's flexibility as well.
Yeah, it's finding that sweet spot where you're powerful but not rigid.
It's about understanding how to work with your body.
Mm-hmm.
And the kayak is a unified system.
Yeah, it's all connected.
These analogies have been incredibly helpful.
I'm glad.
I'm already starting to see my kayaking technique in a whole new light.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so what's next?
Well, in the final part of our deep dive, we'll take a closer look at some of the specific exercises and drills Kemecsey uses
Okay.
to help athletes develop those power circles
All right.
and that all-important feel for the water.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get practical. Let's talk about some of the drills and exercises Kemecsey uses to help athletes actually develop these power circles
Yeah.
and that intuitive feel for the water.
You got it. And remember how we talked about the
Yeah.
importance of leg drive
Yeah,
and that hip flick in power circle number 3.
right?
Kemecsey has this whole progression of exercises to target those areas.
The hip flick, how do you even, teach that? Yeah, it sounds complicated, but he starts with something surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Having athletes alternate pressing down with each heel.
Oh, interesting.
Almost like they're riding a bicycle in the kayak.
Okay, I see.
It's all about building that fundamental connection
Right.
between the legs and the boat.
Right.
You need to feel how those leg movements translate into forces that impact the kayak
I see.
before you can start adding, more complex movements.
So it's like laying the groundwork.
Exactly.
Okay, so what comes after the bicycle drill?
So from there, he'll introduce, variations.
Yeah.
Like pressing down with the pulling side heel while lifting the opposite foot off the footboard.
Okay.
It's a subtle twisting motion
Right.
that starts to engage the hips more.
Okay, so when does that explosive hip movement actually come in?
As athletes progress,
Yeah.
he'll have them add the hip flick to the mix,
Okay.
syncing it with the transition between the pulling and supporting legs. It all builds up to this powerful coordinated movement that really harnesses the power of the lower body.
I see. So he's breaking down this complex movement into manageable steps.
Yeah, exactly. But remember,
Yeah.
Kemecsey is all about feel.
Right.
He doesn't want his athletes to just robotically go through the motions,
Right. It's about mindfulness,
Yeah,
paying attention to the feedback you're getting from the boat.
exactly. He wants them to be fully present in their bodies, sensing how each movement impacts the kayak's balance and glide.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
What are some other creative tools or drills he uses to target the power circles?
He actually uses some pretty common objects
Okay.
in really innovative ways.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, for example, remember the wet soap analogy we talked about?
Yeah, I do.
He'll actually have his athletes practice squeezing a wet bar of soap
Oh, wow. Okay.
to get a visceral sense of how pressure applied in the right way
Right.
can create forward motion.
Such a simple object.
I know, right?
But it perfectly illustrates the concept.
Yeah, he's really good at finding those
Yeah.
simple ways.
To illustrate complex ideas.
Exactly.
Are there any other examples like that?
Yeah, he also uses bungee cords.
Bungee cord.
Attaching them to the stern of the kayak
Okay.
and having the athlete paddle against the resistance.
All right.
And this forces them to really focus on that powerful support phase
Okay.
at the end of the stroke, which is so crucial for a smooth recovery.
So that extra feedback, it's helping them feel that connection with the water.
Exactly. All goes back to developing that heightened awareness
Right.
of those subtle interactions between the body, the boat, and the water.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It's been fun.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of kayaking technique.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm excited to try out some of these concepts on the water.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Kemecsey's approach is really transformative.
Yeah, and it goes beyond kayaking,
Oh, it's about mindfulness and using your body.
Exactly. His emphasis on feel, interconnectedness, and mindful movement can be applied to any physical activity.
That's such a great point for our listeners out there. I encourage you to take some of these principles
Yeah.
and see how they can enhance your own experiences,
Absolutely.
whether it's kayaking, running, dancing, or even just walking down the street.
Yeah, pay attention.
Pay
Yeah.
attention to how your body moves,
How you move.
how it interacts with its environment.
Yeah, and see what you discover.
See what you discover. This has been another great deep dive.
It has. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
All right, see you later.
Bye, everyone.